Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're tackling this whole Nvidia thing and all the buzz around AI training costs.
Sounds good.
So, Nvidia's stock took a bit of a hit recently, right? And then you got this company, DeepSeek, making headlines, claiming they can train AI models on the cheap.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's wondering if this is the start of a major shakeup.
Like, is DeepSeek the giant killer? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye?
Well, that's what we're here to unravel.
Absolutely. Let's start with DeepSeek's claims, shall we? They train their V3 model, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they use what, like 2,000 of NVIDIA's Hopper GPUs? Those are the top-of-the-line processors, correct?
Yeah, the latest and greatest from Nvidia. And get this, for a supposed cost of $5.6 million.
5.6 mil. Hold on. That sounds ridiculously low.
Yeah.
Like Google and other big players, they're spending billions, right?
Exactly, billions. So yeah, at first glance, DeepSeek's claim is kind of mind-blowing.
Right. Okay, so I'm guessing there's a catch. What's the missing piece of the puzzle here?
Well, the sneaky bit is what they conveniently left out. They're only talking about the cost of actually running the GPUs for the training process.
Ah, okay, so like just the electricity bill, basically.
More or less, yeah. They're not factoring in the whole research and development process, all of the testing, the fine-tuning, the infrastructure needed to support 2,000 GPUs. It's a massive undertaking.
Makes sense. It's like saying, hey, I built a car for the price of the tires.
Exactly. A classic case of selective storytelling. You see this a lot, especially with companies trying to make a splash in hot fields like AI.
Yeah.
Gotta track those investors.
Right, grab the headlines. So if you factor in all those hidden costs, what's the real price tag?
Now, we're talking somewhere north of $1.6 billion. Suddenly, not so cheap anymore.
Okay, yeah, that puts things into perspective. But 2,000 GPUs, even if it's not as cheap as they claim, that still sounds like a massive operation.
It is, and that's where DeepSeek's attempt to frame themselves as this lean and mean AI disruptor falls apart a bit.
Really? How so?
Well, turns out they have a lot more GPUs than they let on, like a lot more. They've actually got over 60,000 NVIDIA GPUs in total, including the H100s and A100s.
Whoa, 60,000? That's not exactly a small startup operation.
Nope, not at all. Kind of undermines the whole we're doing it for cheap narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of a head-scratcher, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe DeepSeek isn't the NVIDIA killer they're pretending to be. But you keep mentioning these GPUs. They're obviously crucial for AI.
Yeah.
Could you break down why they're so essential? I mean, they're powerful processors, but what makes them special for AI specifically?
Sure. So training AI models, it's all about handling huge amounts of data and performing trillions of calculations. Now, GPUs, or graphics processing units, were originally designed for something else entirely.
Video games.
Exactly. Rendering all those complex visuals, that's where GPUs shine. But the interesting thing is that same architecture, it turns out, is perfect for the kind of parallel processing that AI needs.
Parallel processing.
Yeah, imagine doing tons of calculations simultaneously instead of one after the other. That's what GPUs excel at, and NVIDIA's GPUs, they're specifically optimized for these AI workloads.
Got it. So these specialized GPUs are like custom-built engines for AI. Okay, DeepSeek's claims were misleading. GPUs are the key to AI. But where does this leave NVIDIA? Should they be sweating bullets right now?
Well, their stock did dip, sure. But let's look at the actual demand for their GPUs. It's still incredibly high.
Really? Even with all this DeepSeek drama?
Yeah, in fact, the prices for their top models, the H100 and H200, they've actually gone up recently. And that's a clear sign that companies are still clamoring to get their hands on NVIDIA's hardware because they need them.
So NVIDIA is still king of the hill?
For now, yeah. They pretty much dominate the AI hardware acceleration market.
Okay, that's reassuring for NVIDIA, I guess. But are there any potential competitors on the horizon? Any dark horses we should be watching?
Oh, absolutely. There are always new players emerging. Startups, even some established companies, they're all pouring resources into developing their own AI chips.
So it's a dynamic field. No one can rest on their laurels.
Exactly. It's way too early to say if anyone's going to dethrone NVIDIA anytime soon, but the competition is definitely heating up.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
Okay, so even with DeepSeek's misleading narrative, the AI gold rush is in full swing, and NVIDIA is leading the charge. But you mentioned earlier that there are other factors at play here, right? Like the bigger economic picture.
Right. So we've got things like interest rates. When they're high, it makes borrowing more expensive for companies, which can slow down investment in new tech, especially in areas considered more risky, like, well, AI.
So some of the market jitters are tied to those broader economic trends. Makes sense. But does it change the long-term outlook for AI?
I don't think, though. AI is too transformative. The potential is just too huge. Companies might look for ways to cut costs here and there, but the overall investment in AI, it's only going to grow. And then you've got the whole geopolitical situation adding another layer of complexity.
What do you mean?
Tensions with China, for example, have a direct impact, especially on the semiconductor supply chain, right?
Yeah.
Which could affect Nvidia's ability to produce and get their chips to where they need to go.
So a lot of uncertainty in the mix.
Yeah, a lot of moving pieces for sure.
Okay, DeepSeek. Maybe not the David to Nvidia's Goliath, but their story definitely highlights how fast this industry is changing. And it brings us to the million-dollar question. What's your take? Is now a good time to invest in Nvidia?
Ooh, that's the tough one. On the one hand, you've got Nvidia's fundamentals. They're still the dominant force, right? They're constantly innovating, and the demand for their GPUs and AI is through the roof.
So all signs point to a great future.
You would think so. But then you've got those interest rates looming, the geopolitical uncertainties, and the competition sheeting up. It's a balancing act.
So what's our listener to do? Any pearls of wisdom?
Look, the best advice is to think long-term, right? Consider the massive potential of AI. But at the same time, don't rush into anything. Weigh the risks and the rewards.
Informed decisions, as always.
Exactly. No one has a crystal ball.
All right, folks, there you have it. So maybe the sky isn't falling for Nvidia just yet. DeepSeek's claims might have been a bit of smoke and mirrors, but the demand for those powerful GPUs is still there, and AI is only getting bigger. But as we've learned today, there's always a bigger picture. Interest rates, global events, they all play a part. And it makes you wonder what other hidden costs or misleading narratives are out there shaping how we see the tech world. And how can we, as consumers of information, become more discerning? Especially when it comes to these attention-grabbing stories. That's something to ponder, isn't it?
Lots to think about, for sure.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Until next time.
See you then.